So Summerslam weekend is almost upon us, so that means it's now time to sit down and hypothesize about what I think will happen and what I think we might see, and all that fun stuff, and just for time for us WWE fans to kind of like nerd out. So there's 12 matches to get through here, and so I'm just going to start with I'm going to start with the tag team match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and I'm going to start here just because I'm going to kind of like try and predict who's going to be the opener here. I mean, the main events are kind of like a bit of a no-brainer, I feel. So, but yeah, the who I think could open this match, I think it could be between two. I think it could be between this one. I think we could also potentially have the other tag team match here for night one between Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez taking on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I think that's another strong candidate to open night one, but I've got to pick one, so I'm just going to, and something's just telling me that for some reason that I can't even articulate, there's I'm picking Roman Reigns and Jey Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to start things off, and I think ultimately I think we have to see Roman Reigns and Jey Uso pick up a win here. I think that it makes sense because obviously, following the beatdown on SmackDown, on the Go Home episode of SmackDown, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker were one standing tall, and usually in those situations you tend to find whoever's standing tall on the Go Home episode is kind of the one who's not going to win at the actual event itself. I just, but also, you know, you've got the fact that Roman Reigns has just come back. And so I don't think you can really have him just like kind of return and just sort of have him kind of on the losing team neither. I mean, I think you could maybe go the other way and sort of, because of the beatdown on SmackDown, you could just sort of like have Jey Uso and Roman Reigns' ribs taped up, and you could just make out the kind that, you know, you could just have them put in an admirable effort, and just have Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed picking up a win, but kind of run with this kind of narrative of that Jey Uso and Roman Reigns would have probably won if they hadn't been taped up. But I just think that's and they have been going with that sometimes with this fraction of Seth Rollins's, but I just think that's a lame way of going about it. I don't think that, you know, I think if you're going to build this faction and this team of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed as this formidable thing, I don't think you need to come up with excuses as to why they lose. Do you know what I mean? But I just think also the reason why I'm kind of picking Roman Reigns and Jey Uso to pick up a win here is also just because I feel like Bronson Reed is the most expendable in this out of these four people, and I don't mean that disparagingly, you know. What I mean is kind of like Roman Reigns is sort of, you know, marketed as the OTC, and he's kind of the big dog that's just come back. He's been the face of a company for quite a few years. You've got Jey Uso, who's also like another totally over babyface, total main eventer, and you've got Braun Breaker, who's kind of like the future and just kind of trying to break down those walls, and Bronson Reed just kind of ends up being kind of a weak link by default, because, and what I mean by that is, like I said, I don't mean as a criticism to Bronson Reed, but what I just mean is that you could have him like pick up a pin here, and because whenever you kind of want to flip that and reaffirm his dominance and portray him as this kind of wrecking ball, you could just have him kind of hit multiple tsunamis on some and whoever, you know, on an episode of Raw. So yeah, I'm going for Roman Reigns and Jey Uso to pick up a win here. So yeah, so moving on, we're going to move on to Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill now, and it's weird because this match seems to, a lot of the hype for this match, it seems, was kind of like hanging on the notion of people were anticipating this was going to be the match and Naomi was going to come in and cash in, and she was going to rob Jade Cargill of the title, and it was going to be, that kind of continuation of that feud. And it didn't happen, and obviously I'm glad that it didn't happen. It was good that they kind of had Naomi cash in on Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, because it was just totally didn't see it coming. It was a surprise, and that was a kind of a point, you know what I mean? Where if you kind of like have your if everyone's kind of expecting this kind of Money in the Bank cash-in, that's a reason not to kind of do it then, because the Money in the Bank cash-in is meant to be like a surprising thing. It's meant to generate this kind of shock. It's meant to be kind of like be dropped at a time where almost the audience have forgotten that there's this Money in the Bank person in the background, So I think that it was totally the right call, but the double-edged sword of that is that because Naomi and the Money in the Bank has been kind of taken out of the equation now, it's sort of sapped some of the anticipation I think fans have got for this match. And also I'm just, I'm not particularly over with Jade Cargill, not particularly over with Tiffany Stratton as well, so I just haven't really got too much hype for this match, I'm afraid to say. But yeah, I'm going for Jade Cargill picking up a win here, just because I just think it's time, and I just think that's kind of like what they're looking at. So yeah, I'm going to go for Jade Cargill to pick up a win here. So yeah, next we'll move on to the tag team match that I was talking about before. It was another strong contender to possibly open up this night one, and that's Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez defending the tag team titles against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And I think there's this wave, that there's this support where people are kind of really getting behind this partnership of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and for that reason I think there's quite a lot of fans who are kind of like hoping that they put the gold on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss here. I'm going to be, and in that sense, I'm going to be slightly bold, and I'm going to say that Roxanne Perez, I'm going to pick Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez to retain now. And I'm just really kind of going for that, just because I feel like there's this, I think they're going to continue with this narrative of what's Liv Morgan going to make of all this when she returns, and Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez have this established tag team back, yeah, I just feel, and I'm kind of all down to see how that plays out as well. I'm all down for that as well. I mean, we could potentially be looking months away as a counterpoint. We could be potentially looking like months away for Liv Morgan to return. So there's always that chance where they could kind of move about around in that time and still kind of find a way to circle back around to this if they wanted to. There's always time, so Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss have always got a chance in this match. I think it's a distinct possibility they could change the titles here, but yeah, I've just got to go with my gut instinct here, and I'm gonna stick with Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez retaining here. So yeah, next up we have AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio, and this is interesting because for a long time, pretty much ever since this match was like announced, I was convinced that Dominic Mysterio was retaining here. And I just kind of and the big reason for that was because I just feel like Dominic Mysterio, although a heel, he's totally over with the crowd at the minute. He's such a young up and comer, and he's got, there just seem to be this is such a kind of a love for him at the minute, and it seems to be like WWE really kind of strapping a rocket to this lad, I just don't think that I could see them kind of just giving that up to pull it on AJ Styles at this point in his career. However, there has been these recent developments with Dominic Mysterio doing work with AAA it's fitting up a title feud with Dragon Lee in that and in AAA, and I just kind of feel like yeah, that's always put casting down to my mind. I'm thinking, they could actually do it. They could actually send Dominic Mysterio to this feud in AAA with Dragon Lee, and they could have him kind of win that title, and therefore they kind of could put it on AJ Styles here, and and maybe you could even kind of make this argument that if you took the title off Dominic Mysterio, that would kind of free up to have this kind of moving needle with Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor, possibly. But so I'm really kind of now I'm entertaining the idea that AJ Styles could actually win this. But I'm going to stick to my initial thought. I'm then going to stick that Dominic Mysterio is retaining here. So we also have a celebrity match here between Jelly Roll and Randy Orton against the tag team partnership of Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. This match was kind of thrown a little bit into doubt with the news this week of Drew McIntyre being stranded in the UK because of passport issues. That's just been recently kind of confirmed that it's been resolved, and the match is still going ahead, so we can still kind of affirm our predictions now for this one. With this being a celebrity match, I think you could argue that you have to say Randy Orton and Jelly Roll are the favourites here, because so often with these types of matches you end up having the celebrity winning. But I'm not sure if this is I'm starting to think maybe this is the exception to the rule, and obviously I don't know Jelly Roll. I'm only going for vibes here, and hunches, and so I may be completely wrong here, but I just kind of have this impression that Jelly Roll was this WWE fan who's just kind of yeah, I want to be in the match, and yeah, I want to get pinned, I want to take a loss. Do you know what I mean? It just seems to kind of one of those. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to make a bold choice, and I'm going to say Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul are picking up a win here. I am, and I'm going to predict that it's kind of executed in a way that Jelly Roll puts in a really good show in here. I think some people were really impressed with his promo on SmackDown he did, and yeah, I think I think you could see some surprising in-ring performance from Jelly Roll here as well, and I think it's going to do. I think he's going to surprise people, and I think that obviously Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul, they're professionals in business, and they know if that's a play, they know how to put anybody over and make them look like $1 million. And I think this could be what happens here. But yeah, I'm gonna make a bold choice, and then gonna say Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre are picking up a win here. Yeah, so next up we have Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross as well, and just simply because of the stature that Sami Zayn has, and I think there is this play just to move him back to the main event scene, and Karrion Kross won their last encounter. I just see Sami Zayn picking up a win here. I can't see Karrion Kross beating Sami Zayn, and yeah, I can't see WWE handing Sami Zayn 2 losses on the bounce here. Hopefully they kind of move this feud on after this, and they hopefully they renew Karrion Kross's contract, because obviously he's just totally over with the fans at the minute, and I think he's got a lot to bring. So hopefully they renew contract, and they just they continue to push this guy onto other things. And so then we move on to what will undoubtedly be the main event here of Gunther and CM Punk. And here I just kind of, I mean, this is an interesting one, because for a long time I was kind of the notion that how this match was going to play out all hanged in the balance of Seth Rollins and where he was in terms of his health and his injury, and whether he was medically clear, because I always figured that if he wasn't medically clear, you could always just keep the belt on Gunther, and if he was medically clear, it made all the sense in the world to kind of do this SummerSlam 2013 thing, like they did with John Cena and Daniel Bryan, almost, where you could have this totally over moment of CM Punk actually winning the title and having this big hurrah moment, this big fireworks moment of, CM Punk is totally over with the crowd. He's finally done it. He's finally won, and then you could have Seth Rollins coming out to cash in. And obviously, it makes all the sense in the world, because obviously the hatred that CM Punk and Seth Rollins have for each other. So you could just throw more fuel on that feud. Not that it necessarily needs it. And then I kind of thought that actually, it really didn't matter where Seth Rollins was. It doesn't really matter if Seth Rollins shows up here or is medically clear for this or not, because I think, like, my brain's starting to go, well, why would you actually do that? Why would you actually do that when you could have the best of both worlds? You could have this totally big thing where you could have CM Punk winning and having this big hurrah moment, having this big celebratory moment, and similar to how they were with Jey Uso winning at WrestleMania, having that same kind of motive, having that same kind of moment with the crowd, and the fireworks, and boo, boo, thank you everybody, good night, boo boo boo. And then and you've kind of still got this idea of I think there will still be some fans who will still think that, who still think in their mind that Seth Rollins didn't show up, so he must be still out on an injury, and and therefore you could just kind of like use that to your advantage, where you could provide this really shocking moment. You basically, if you leave SummerSlam with the belt on CM Punk, then you've got all the pieces in place to have this real shocking kind of cash in. Whereas I just kind of I kind of feel like that sort of is slightly more surprising than CM Punk actually winning, and people just kind of then starting to predict that that's kind of Seth Rollins' cue, So I mean, but I'm going back and forth on it, because I despite that, I do think that Seth Rollins coming back and cashing in, I do kind of see it. I honestly do see it. So I'm going to go back and forwards on this. I honestly don't know. I honestly do not know what they're going to do with this. But I change every day on this. I can only go with how I'm feeling right here, right now. And right here, right now, I'm going to say that Seth Rollins is going to appear. I mean, I would have probably changed my mind about this tomorrow, and I would have changed it back again by Saturday. yeah, I've got to go with my guarantee, and I'm just kind of going. Yeah, I think it's we could see Seth Rollins turn up and cash in, despite obviously what I have just said. So yeah, I'm gonna say that CM Punk wins the match, is champion for all of like 30 seconds, and then Seth Rollins comes out and stops him, so yeah, that's what I'm going for. Like I said, it's my thoughts on that are going to probably change a handful of times between now and SummerSlam as well. It's just one of those. Yeah, we move on to night 2 now, and I realised I probably made a mistake here, because I think that Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles is scheduled for night 2, and I've already kind of made my prediction, but so I've gone out of order there. But apologies for that. Yeah. So I think, again, like, it's difficult to pick an opener for night 2, because I think when you look at the match card for night 2, every single one of these could be a certified banger. I really do. I do think that it's just one of those where we could, every single one of these, I'm kind of all down for. It is a similar to a WrestleMania thing, where this night 2 card is looking significantly stronger than the night 1. So honestly, any of these could start it, but I'm going to say that. And again, there's 2 top ones that are popping out as contender for opener, and this is between the triple threat match between Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Naomi, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, sorry. And the other one is the match between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. I think either one of those you could have as a real strong opener for this match. I'm going for. I'm going to go for Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria first, to opener. I do kind of, and I do feel like, Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, obviously these two have absolutely fantastic chemistry together. We've seen them, they could just run this feud over and over again, and their chemistry, we know, is just great, and they just put on banger after banger. So why, so this match is going to be no different, and you've got the street fight stipulation and everything. I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that we see Bayley show up here, and then you could just wherever the plans they have for Bayley, it's a bit unclear whether they're going to have a heel or baby face or whatever. So whatever you kind of do with it, you could have her get involved in this match, and then you could spin it off with a feud between Bayley and Becky Lynch, or alternatively Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. You could go either way. Obviously, if Lyra Valkyria doesn't win here, the stipulation is that she can challenge for the IC title as long as Becky Lynch is holding it. So you could also have this idea, if Bayley did get involved and target Lyra Valkyria, you could have that feud as a little side quest to buy the time until Lyra Valkyria can challenge for it again. And ultimately, you could also, have Bayley target Becky Lynch, and you could have Bayley take the title off Becky Lynch somewhere down the line, maybe at Clash of Paris or whatever, and or somewhere down the line, or and then you could obviously have circle back round to Bayley and Lyra Valkyria again. Heck, you could even circle back round to a triple threat again with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria and Bayley again, because these 3 women have displayed that they just have excellent chemistry together. So yeah, but I'm going to pick Lyra No, I'm not. I'm going to pick Becky Lynch to retain here, and I'm picking Becky Lynch retaining just because I just think it makes more sense. I don't see if they put the title back on Laura Valkyria. I don't think it makes too much sense. I do just think that it makes all the sense to just keep the title on Becky Lynch for now, and just they could use that to kind of spin off more different feuds here. I'm picking Becky Lynch to retain here. So then we have the triple threat match, like I said, between Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. Again, I just think this is going to be a certified banger. We've seen Rhea Ripley and Io Sky work brilliantly together. All their matches have been kind of like modern day classics. They've been in the triple threat before, obviously at WrestleMania with Bianca Belair, and that was hailed as one of the greatest women's matches. Right, so I just think that this is going to be and obviously Naomi is another great in-ring performer, and yeah, I just think that this is going to be another certified banger. I really do, with just three brilliantly talented women just doing what they do best. They're just great in-ring performances. I just feel like this is going to be another modern day classic. I really do, because I just think, especially when you have Rhea Ripley and Io Sky together, it's just shown the results are just going to be magic. So I do kind of, on that note, I do kind of see this being one of those situations where Io Sky and Rhea Ripley end up kind of cancelling each other out a bit, and you can kind of move them off, and so by and large you kind of just have Naomi retaining by default. But also I think as this play where Stephanie Valkyria is going to challenge probably for this title at Clash of Paris, and therefore you kind of start thinking, well, who would be the most obvious pick for Stephanie Valkyria to make, and with Stephanie Valkyria getting this huge push as this just totally over babyface as well, it just makes all the sense in the world to have her against Naomi, the biggest heel you've got in the company right now. So yeah, that just kind of makes sense. So yeah, I'm picking for Naomi to retain here, and then we're going to have that's going to allow kind of Naomi and Io Sky and Rhea Ripley to go off and just continue to work out magic together. And I think it's just going to then, you've got Naomi going off, retaining and setting up a feud with Stephanie Valkyria for Clash in Paris. But we move on to the Solo Sikoa Jacob Fatu steel cage match. Again, I just think this is going to be a certified banger. I do think that with it be, despite it being a steel cage match, I think we're going to have shenanigans galore here. I think that we are going to. I don't think it's kind of like out of the realms of possibility that we see Zilla Fatu showing up at some point, I just see the rest of the bloodline coming along, and I just think that it's going to be another one of those where despite the stipulations, I do kind of feel like it's just going to be another one of those, I do just kind of feel like it's going to be one of those where we see the bloodline getting involved. I think we could have Zilla Fatu showing up here. I think we could even maybe see Jimmy Uso show up here. I think we could have shenanigans galore here, despite it being a steel cage match. But with the push that they're trying to give Jacob Fatu here, I do kind of feel like I can't see them having Jacob Fatu lose twice. So I do just see Jacob Fatu getting his revenge here and taking a title back and defying the odds. And I think that it's perfectly, and I'm going to say that we're going to see, we're going to see Zilla Fatu showing up and kind of being a significant part of part of that. So yeah, that's my prediction for Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Then we move on to the six-man tag teams match, and between I'm gonna cock this up, but so we have the Wyatt Six, we have DIY, we have Pretty Deadly, we have Motor City Machine Guns, we have Andrade and Ray Phoenix here, and we also got Fraxium in here as well, and in the TLC match, no less, for the tag team champion. And again, I cannot tell you how hyped I am for this. I genuinely believe that this could be a strong contender for the match of the entire PLE. I really do. I don't think it's hyperbole to say that, just because of what we've kind of like already seen. And yeah, I just honestly, words definitely fail me to how much I think this, how much of a great showcase I think this could be. Obviously, we've seen just do a TLC match of back of WrestleMania with just 3 of these teams, and it was just a modern day classic. And yeah, I do just kind of feel like this is going to be another potential modern day classic we are going to see with these two. I honestly don't know who and the other thing is, but the reason why I'm so psyched for is because I have no idea who's going to win this. You could make a strong case for anyone here, but I'm going to have to say the Wyatt Six. I'm going to say the Wyatt Six are going to retain when all is said and done, just because they've recently put the tag titles on them. So I think that it makes all the sense in the world to have champions have this like short run when it feels right, and it just doesn't necessarily feel right here. But I don't know. I mean, the tag team division on SmackDown is cooking right now, so it just kind of like feels like, you know, so they could change the belts around and it would still kind of make sense. It would still be a nice like melting pot. So I honestly don't know, but I've got to pick one, and I'm just good. This is literally just like picking one out of a hat, blindfold. It really is. And I'm gonna go for the Wyatt Six. All I really know about this, all I'm confident about with this match is that it's going to be an absolute certified banger. And like I said, wouldn't surprise me if it ended up, if we had fans citing this as the match of the PLE. I really do. I just think the in-ring performances and death-defying stuff that we're going to see here is just going to be off the scale. I really do. So yeah, but I've got to pick one, and I'm just going to pick the Wyatt Six, and I have zero faith in that whatsoever, but I've got to pick one, so I'm going to pick my guys, the Wyatt Six, to retain here. And then we move on to our main event with John Cena and Cody Rhodes, and this is another really intriguing one, because people have been talking about, are we going to see the double turn here? Are we going to see Cody Rhodes turn heel here? And honestly, I think if you were to tell me, if you're one of those people who kind of like is eyeing up a Cody Rhodes heel turn, I wouldn't bet against you at all. I would have no faith in saying that you were wrong here, because I think there's every chance in the world that we see a Cody Rhodes heel turn. But just my 2 pennies worth is I don't think we are going to see it. I think that all the kind of breadcrumbs that have led to people speculating this heel turn are just kind of they are just kind of red herrings partly, and they're partly just to kind of complete that character arc of Cody Rhodes isn't flinching anymore. He's just realizing that just to kind of that he can be continue being the white knight with goody two shoes and expect to be John Cena because he's learned from the last match that that's just going to end up screwing him over. So he doesn't. So he's kind of like being a bit heelish, maybe, or he's prepared to be a bit heelish, but he's doing it kind of reluctantly. That's kind of a play, and I just see that. So I do kind of think that also we've got this. So no, I'm going to say that Cody Rhodes doesn't turn heel here, but then this poses a question of, if he doesn't turn heel, if he does stay babyface, how do we get to John Cena turning babyface, which again is not confirmed, but it's just this idea that we've all kind of bought into as a fandom, that we're going to have this turn, and I just feel like and I honestly don't know. I mean, the play that I kind of... What would make all the sense in the world if we were just totally fantasy booking this? What I think would make all the sense in the world would be if you had The Rock show up. Yes, I said that. If we have The Rock show up and he gives Cody another chance to sell his soul to him, and we have this big moment of, oh my god, he's actually going to do it, playing into that potential for a heel turn, just for Cody Rhodes to tell him to go F himself again, and he nails The Rock, and this time John Cena isn't going to stop him, because John Cena is so taken back, so betrayed, like he's like to The Rock, what you were going to prepare to throw me under the bus, and offer Cody Rhodes a kind of get out clause, like you were going to do that. And then we have Cody Rhodes pick up a win, and so you kind of have all of this these internal things going on with John Cena now, where he's lost the title and he's seen himself sell his soul just to be betrayed by the person he sold his soul to. And I just kind of feel like, well, you know, what does all this mean? And you're going to have maybe the interaction with the crowd play into this as well, and you know, that's kind of how you get back into the babyface thing. That would kind of make all the sense in the world. But in order for them to do that, we've got to kind of assert that The Rock is going to return here. And I'm not doing it. I'm not going to bring myself and any viewers here down this rabbit hole just for us to be disappointed again. So I'm going to say The Rock is not going to turn up here. Yeah, I'm going to say The Rock is not going to turn up, because I'm not going to do this to myself and the viewers anymore. So I'm going to say The Rock is not going to turn up. I do think we could see Travis Scott turn up. I don't have any desire to see Travis Scott turn up, but just in terms of kind of completing that angle of the story and Cody Rhodes getting his hands on Travis Scott again, I kind of think it makes all the sense in the world for him to maybe be under the ring or something like that, and show up. I do see a world where that's happening, but I'm gonna say The Rock isn't turning up, and I say that just because, you know, I'm not buying into that idea anymore, and I just feel like if I'm wrong about that, it'll be a pleasant surprise. We'll just be happy. So, you know, it's a no-win. So it's a win-win really if I kind of assert that The Rock doesn't show up. So yeah, I'm going to say that we probably see Travis Scott here, not The Rock. But like I said, and going off what I had previously said, this still leaves a question unresolved about if we don't have The Rock then play a part, how do we get John Cena back to babyface again? And I don't know, but I think there'll be something. I think I'll just kind of have some sort of internal conflict between John Cena and the crowd and all that, and we just kind of we'll you know, they'll work something to kind of you know, if they can't get The Rock to return, then I think they'll they'll think of something along those kind of angles to get us back to babyface John Cena. So yeah, those are my predictions. So yeah, thank you guys, thank you for taking the time to watch this quite lengthy video. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications, don't forget to like and subscribe. I do often upload WWE content onto here. I will be posting my review for SummerSlam after the big event is over. So yeah, don't forget to ring the bell for notifications, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see all that. And yeah, feel free to let me know down in the comment section what your thoughts are. What are your predictions? What are your thoughts on what I've just said? What are your anticipations? What your excitement level for all this? You know, all that kind of fun stuff. Let me know down in the comment section, and I'll see you on the other side of SummerSlam. So until then, you guys take care.